Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to FUJIFILM X Summit in Shibuya. So X Summit is a program we discuss for new technologies and the future roadmap and the future of photography. And we are broadcasting from here, Shibuya, to all over the world. And we are excited because Shibuya is a well-known city for street photography. So also, tonight we welcomed the two prominent photographers from Europe, the Bert and Thomas. Welcome. So I wish you enjoy the program for entire the time. And before end of the show, we have some new news about future product, which may surprise you. So I hope you enjoy the X Summit in Shibuya. Let's start the show. Okay, good evening, everybody again. I'm Toshida from FUJIFILM, and the huge welcome to FUJIFILM X Summit in Shibuya. So, as I mentioned, X Summit is the program. We talk about the future technology and the future roadmap, and more importantly, future of photography. So we are all excited, and thanks for joining us today. And let me introduce the two special guests from overseas, two very world-leading photographers. The Bert, Stephanie, nice welcome. And the next is Thomas from Poland. So please, big applause to the Bert and Thomas.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining. Right? So we are going to talk and discuss and even argue on the topics about street photography or the photojournalist and photojournalism and so on. And please also welcome two of my best colleagues here. Takashi Ueno.
Hi.
He's the head of the product planning, as well as the Shin Udono. He's the head of the sales and marketing. So five of us today we discuss about the future of photography. Okay, and also more importantly, today we invited more than 20 leading photographers from Japan. So thanks for your attending this Friday night evening. Thank you. So this is live streaming from the Shibuya to all over the world. So for everybody who watching this on the live, you are also the very important part of this program. And I hope you stay tuned. And please give us the comment through YouTube, the comments. This is a QR code. So you can give us any feedback and any opinions throughout YouTube. So we'll be welcome. So join us. Let's talk together. So before start anything, I will ask two guests, the Bert and Thomas, to introduce themselves by answering the three questions. I give you the three questions. The Bert, maybe you can start. My first question is, how do you see this city of Shibuya?
Well, Shibuya was my first meeting with Tokyo, basically, 6 years ago. Exactly 6 years ago. Yeah. And it's like, it's the whole world in one city. There's so much happening. There's the the big crowds and everything and all the lights and the noise, which is very overwhelming. But at the same time, if you take like one of the little side streets, then you get into another world. So I really enjoy the fact that you have so much in one place.
So these are the pictures from the Shibuyas you've taken?
I think this is one that was taken in the reflection on a camera store.
Yeah.
I thought that was fitting to use a camera store. Because the thing with Shibuya is also is where old meets new. You have this very modern vibe going
Young
on, but at
girls
the same
and,
time, and I think that's a Japanese thing. There's a lot of respect for tradition and crafts, and these old cameras they were really prominent in that camera store. So I really like that old and new together, and it seems to fit perfectly together too.
Okay. So my second question is, what are you trying to convey with your photography?
Well, to me, it's about how I see. To me, photography is my way of seeing. It can be in street photography, documentary photography, or portraits. And I like to see things that other people don't really see. One of my kids once gave me the biggest compliment when he was talking to a friend about what I was doing for a living, and my son said to his friend, like, my dad sees differently.
Right.
And I think it's one of the biggest compliments. And what I try to convey is usually the things that are close to me, the things that are in my mind, and that can change all the time. But I like to keep it very personal, and so I think my photography is an extension of who I am.
Right, it's good. So how would you describe your work? So it's a bit vague questions.
I think it's always a very hard thing to do, and I always try different things too. But I think I always come back to some form of simplicity, to come back to real things, real photography. I like to capture real things, but not usually the obvious thing. I think most things that happen, or most people, they have different layers. And usually people photograph only the first layer, and we show only our first layer. But for me, I like it very much to go beyond that first layer, to break through it, and to see a bit deeper into what a person is like or what a situation is like.
Right.
So that to me is, in a way, it's documenting life, but maybe a bit deeper than just skin deep.
So, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So next, Thomas, your turn. So same question to you. So the first question is, how do you see? How do you like the city of Shibuya?
I mean, I felt in love in Japan when I was young. I started watching anime movies, and then it went to Lost in Translation movie.
Lost in Translation?
Yes, by Sofia Coppola. But after that, when I make here the first trip, it was 4 or 5 years ago. One of the first places I wanted to see was the Shibuya crossing. And what amazed me inside the Tokyo is that each district is like a separate town, so you can visit Shinjuku, Shibuya, and they are totally different. Explore them, spend 1 week inside of them, and still don't know it really. And Shibuya, it's really amazing because I spent 2 years ago 2 months in Tokyo when I was doing my project for my PhD about nightlife in Tokyo, and I was surprised that on each street you can see something else. That there are a lot of amazing vibes happening.
All right, that's good. So same question, the second question, what are you trying to convey with your photography?
I mean, like Bertold, mostly I'm interested in documentary, portraiture, and street photography, and the most important thing is to tell stories. When I started my journey with photography, it's about knowing the person that I wanted to photograph, to tell his story, their story, or a story of a place. And that's one thing. With my personal project, it's more about finding this kind of surreality in a daily life. It's like Marcel Proust told that the real journey is about having new eyes, not seeing new landscapes. And that's the idea I have inside of me.
that's a style of photography. So my last question is, what would you like to describe your work?
I mean, mostly for sure, I really like black and white photography. But I would say that it's about telling stories, that photographer is a kind of shadow that is observing the life. It's the life that is happening around you, and going deeper, like Bertolt, with the layers. You are not seeing only the first layer, but you are going with much more layers inside, and to make that the viewer will see those layers with time and explore it.
Right. Good. So thanks, Thomas and Bart, for your self-introductions. So to tell you the truth, these guest photographers and us been together for many, many years. In the past, we are cherishing the bond by constant meeting, constant discussion, talking about photography, talking about the technology, and talking about the roadmap. That will help us to enhance our product from throughout your feedback. So thank you very much for your friendship and the support for many years.
Well, it allows us to make our own cameras in a way, so
Right.
we are very thankful to you.
Right. So I show you several pictures of our history between us. I think this was back in the 2013. It was 6 years ago.
I was younger then.
Yeah, that's the Bart, 6 years ago, 6 years younger. Met general manager at that time with other photographers. And this is a famous designer, Imai-san. Imai-san, yes. He presented, what's the cameras? X100 S or T, I cannot remember. Presents a very early mock-up to them. And next, yeah, that was we had a one night intensive meeting in the Hakone. Thomas, you were in the middle.
That was a very long discussion.
Long discussion,
Yeah, it was a long
overnight
day.
discussion
Overnight.
about
Too long.
too long. I'm not quite sure whether we had the conclusion or not, but
I know that I forgot to went to the hot spring.
yeah, yes, he missed a hot super, right, spring. I think that the last image, that was from the last X Summit we held in February this year in Dubai. After the event, we had also intensive discussion for future roadmap. Okay. So this is a second X Summit after the Dubai session. So I like to cover what we learned from the first X Summit. So this point, first I like to cover the lenses, especially for the XF lenses. This part I hand over to the Takashi Ueno-san to start.
Okay. Thank you, Toshi. In the first session, so I would like to update about future lens roadmap. Okay. Yeah, this is the latest lens roadmap.
So many lenses we have
Yeah.
now.
So many lenses.
So, but we are still
Yeah.
missing some
So-
space. So this is a roadmap, and I think you want to touch on the top one, right? This evening. Beforehand, I like to cover the 16 to 80 f4. So this is a lens to cover 24 to 120 equivalent f4 consistent. Very small, very handy, very lightweight. And we are about to launch this month.
This month.
Yes.
1 week later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the initial demand is very big. So our factory is very busy for keep up and running to produce as many as 16 to 80. So this is quite nice. The small, handy, lightweight, the zoom lens, right?
Right.
So I just covered. So
Yeah,
please.
thank you. As you know, so we disclosed this latest X-mount lens roadmap at the last photo keynote. Yeah. So among these lenses, I think the most impressive lens was this lens, XF 33mm f1.0.
Very impressive on the paper. right?
Yeah.
For the moment.
We had also a long discussion in Hakone about
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, I remember. Yeah. So, and at the last FUJIFILM summit in Dubai, we showed rough optical design of this lens and real size mock-up. So, this is the mock-up at the time. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure F1 is nice, but
Yeah.
that's a very heavy, big
Yes,
lens.
I remember the user reputation of this lens was, to be honest, divided. So some users are delighted because f1.0 is very attractive. f1.0 is just a magic number. So
And the autofocus.
yes, with autofocus. So, but the others were not satisfied because, as Bart said, the lens is too big and too heavy.
Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is not like
It
a
loo-
X
it-
series lens.
it looks like
This
a
is,
telephoto
something
lens.
else.
Yeah, it looks like a telephoto, right? Yes,
Somebody
that's right.
else.
Yeah. However, so this size and weight were inevitable for maintaining high image quality from center to corner. Okay, so we continued to develop this lens in more detail. And today, we would like to show you the current design of this lens.
Can you wait for the moment?
Many favor.
Can you go back? Can you go back? The reason why this lens have to be as big like this is this is a 35 f1.4, right? So 35 f1.4 such a small to jump to the 33 f1.0, right? Why so big? So same challenge to my R&D team. They explained here to here, it's like a 35 f1.4, right? But you need many glass in front of the 35 f1.4 to eliminate all kind of the aberrations, right?
To have
So
the
just
quality.
simply adding the heavy front glasses.
Yes.
So that's why end up this size and this heavy, right? That's a dilemma.
Yeah. So please next. So this is the latest design. As you see, it become further bigger.
Right? So I challenged to my own team, make this smaller, but they came to the opposite ideas, so make it bigger even.
Oh.
So
It's heavy.
Waiting.
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It's not easy.
So, and
It's really heavy.
this is the latest optical design. So there are 15 glasses in the body. So maybe weight is over 1.3 kilogram.
Right? So this to this, almost here.
Yeah.
This to this, just extra. In addition.
Yeah. And we need a tripod mount. Okay. Can you accept this size?
So what do you think? What do you think about the size, weight?
So I think that especially if you are using it for documentary or street, it's too big. I mean, it's very heavy. And the reason why Fuji has a big success is because mirrorless cameras. And when you are putting this kind of size lens in front, then it's not comfortable when you are shooting in dynamic situations. If you are doing portraitures or still life or studio shots, it's doable. But otherwise, I think it's not practical.
Yeah.
Not practical.
I think there's a bit of a line here where it becomes, like Thomas said, impractical and too expensive probably too. Because we all love the idea of an f1 lens is, I think most photographers get really excited about that. And when I saw like the first designs and everything, I was already thinking like, it's the lens that everybody is very excited about, but probably nobody really wants to use because it's too heavy and to also to get your focus right at f1 is always a challenge. If you have a moving subject, it's going to be very hard to get that in focus. So you'll probably be using it at f2 most of the time anyway. So then it doesn't make much sense to have such a big, heavy, expensive lens.
Thank you very much. They already kicked out these lenses, so let's take it back, right?
Okay. So honestly speaking, we also cannot accept this size and weight here. But if we would like to reduce the size and weight of these lenses, so we have to change the maximum aperture value, or we have to change the focal length. So finally, we decided to change the focal length from 33 millimeter to 50 millimeter. Okay. Yeah, this is a new lens. So by this change, the size will be 35% smaller and, of course, be lighter too. Our target weight is under 900 grams. And needless to say, bokeh effect also will be richer and smoother. So,
This is a before.
You can have this one.
This is a present.
This is a mock-up of new designed lens. How do you think about our decision?
This is practical for like a very very sensitive, fast portrait lens. I could definitely see that, and I know also a lot of documentary photographers, definitely in the wedding world, they use 50s or 56 millimeters, and having that extra light come in will certainly help. So I think I'm all okay for it on one condition. That is, if you think about updating the 35 1.4. That's my favorite lens, but you can use a little update. Weather sealing update or something. But yeah, it's still my favorite lens. It was the first lens that I bought, but it's still my favorite. And I think it makes much more sense to update that lens instead of making that really big 35. But I really see this as a portrait photographer. I like using 35 and 56 right now, but if I get that f1 with this one, it's not too heavy.
Yeah, it's much lighter. I really love to use the 56 1.2, so this will work for me for a documentary and street. You can shoot on a very low conditions and then go down with the ISO, so I think it will work really nice.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bert and Thomas, and thank you, Ueno-san.
So I'm watching the comment from the people who is watching.
Yes, this is a YouTube
let's say
comment.
70-80% customers are positive about
Positive?
50
positive.
Really?
You're positive.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, don't get the bigger.
Okay.
Keep the promise. Yes. Okay, so thank you, Ueno-san, for covering lens part. So let's move on to the next part. Next part is new functions, particularly for firmware. So in Dubai, we discussed and we came up with the short or the big list. So this is a wishing list from the customer at that point. So this part I will ask Shin to handle.
Yeah. So this is a list which we discussed in the Dubai X Summit, and this was actually the customer's request. And so that during our chat, so the live streaming, so we raised 9 points here, but also another 10, 20 more. So the request we received, and actually after the event, Dubai X Summit, so our R&D team had a study, a technical feasibility study, and actually now, so we have started development of these 3 functions. So out of this 9, so the one is multiple shot, and second is the focus bracketing, and also the multiple exposure. So we have 3. So the upgrade, and I just quickly explain one by one. So first is the multiple shot for HDR. So HDR is now quite famous, so the popular, so the function, especially through the smartphone. It's concept is the same, So the camera take several shots at once with the different exposure and combine into one, so the very wider dynamic range, so the photo. Okay. And the second one is the focus, so the bracketing. So you see this screen. The camera automatically detect, calculate, how many the autofocus point, need, and the shooting like this. And later on, in the PC, in the software, you can combine into one image and get very sharp photo. And the last one is the multiple exposure. So the multiple exposure function already, we have in our camera. But it's limited to the 2 images, only 2 images combined. But we will extend this to the maximum, the 9 images. So that is the feedback, from the last Dubai meeting. And also I have one more, the news, especially to the videographers, the people who shoot the movie. So it is the drone and gimbal, the compatibility. So the X series, the camera, will work, with the gimbal drone. So that means, our camera, the X series camera, can be controlled, through the drone gimbal, not just only the start-stop recording, but also the shutter speed setting, the exposure setting, the focus setting, the several settings, can be through gimbal and drone. So it will be coming shortly in the market. So any
Thanks a
opinions?
lot for all that.
Sorry?
Thank you a lot for all these things. Trying to remember them a bit. First of all, I shoot a lot of video these days, and I think that gimbal compatibility is a really big one.
Yeah.
Because now I've been holding the gimbal and then trying to push the button, and it works, but it feels always a bit weird to have a gimbal with all these buttons and not being able to use them.
It's much easier.
So I think it's a big step, and I think since the X-T3, like video has become really, Fuji has become an option for video, a real option. And then it's good to keep developing all these other things too. And then on the top of my head, I think the HDR is an important one. As long as the, I think also you have to be able to make bigger steps. Because now you were, I think, limited to 1 stop between each shots.
You mean different exposition value?
Yeah, I think it was one stop or 2/3 of a stop, whatever. But it would be interesting to have a bigger range, maybe even in 3 shots. Because I don't use HDR as we all know the crazy HDR effect. I don't like that too much, but often you use it to compensate for if the dynamic range is
for
too
example,
large.
Night shots
or whatever. Even there's lots of options, interiors, architecture. So there's lots of ways that you can use multiple shots in HDR and combine them with a realistic looking thing. But what I always found is that if there's only 1 stop difference between the images, that's not enough. I usually want a bigger range, and I don't always need a lot of pictures to do it, but if there's 2 stops between them, for example, if you can choose the amount of shots and the range, how many stops?
I mean, for example, the range can be the same, but you can choose the number of images, and then for example, it will be 1/3 or 2/3 between the images. So you have 5 images or 3. So the dynamic range is changing. But it's very good that people can share the images from hard light situations with the Fuji app, for example, because everything is happening inside the camera. So you can send the image as a JPEG to your cell phone or to your laptop and to show to the client or post on Instagram, depends what you want to do with the image.
That sounds makes sense.
I think also the multiple exposure is something that I play around with quite a lot. And so now you've made my options way bigger. Because I always had to do with 2
9
images.
times better.
Yeah. So then I'm going to go crazy with all these options. But I think that's a very good one. Can we give some more suggestions, or?
Yeah,
please.
It's not really firmware, but I saw at the bottom to have Wi-Fi in the X-Acquire app.
X-Acquire.
Yeah, I think that's
wireless.
I think it's very important. A lot of my clients ask me to shoot tethered, so to the computer, but very often I shoot on location, and it's not very handy to have a cable, and the cable is too short or whatever. So I really love to have an option to do it over Wi-Fi, but to have like very low resolution versions of it, so it speeds up because Wi-Fi is not super fast.
Yes.
But what I also would like is to see that in the app. So you can do it with an iPod, an iPhone, or an iPad or something. And so you can tether wirelessly through the app, because now you can connect and send them over. But it would be very handy if clients, for example, could already pick their images, or if the client is sitting next to you and he says like, okay, we have the image, we can move on.
Or give suggestions while you are shooting. So
Yeah.
because normally in commercial shoots, the clients should have the monitor or the iPad, and he can control or give you suggestions. For example, I like this, maybe we can move forward here, there, we can change the light. So it much makes the working faster.
Right.
Okay.
So at this point, I think we are picking up a few comments from the YouTube. YouTube? No? No yet. Okay. Okay, carry on. Okay, sorry. Okay, so thank you very much, Thomas and the Shin and Takashi. We covered the lens and the firmware. So now it's time to talk about the camera, the hardware. So before I start, I just quickly look back the day we started discussion about first generation of X100. It's almost 10 years past. So I picked up from our cabinet. This is the first generation of X100. We introduced 2011 March, but we started the discussion, the concept, from the beginning of the X100. So that time, we saw the demand for the compact cameras will be saturated, peaked out, and we really looked at what type of the cameras the customers are really looking for. So we end up kind of concept back to photography, or pursuing the pure photography. So now I like to talk today about the pure photography. Okay. Let me start. My personal photographic life or experience started when I was a 13 years old boy. When I entered junior high school, my father bought me first SLR, the film SLR, of course, to me. I really liked it. It fit in my small hand, and all the operation is very straightforward. Putting the film, that time the ISO sensitivity wasn't flexible, so I need to find out the light source. So it was my first experience. So that is, I really feel the pure photography. So today's the theme is what is pure photography? Or why don't we go back to basics? Why don't we go back to the pure photography? So today we have many photographers here. So our understanding about the pure photography contains the three essential parts. The first is carry and access. So you need to walk, and you need to carry the cameras, and you need to access to the subject you want to shoot. So that is the beginning of the photography. Second, you need to find the nice subject you are waiting to shoot, and the frame to the best composition. That point, you need to have a very good finder. Viewfinder is the most important part of it. Finally, even more important part is pressing shutter. So without pressing shutter, right, all the subject will disappear. So most important thing is pressing the shutter. So you don't need to touch the camera so much. You don't need to look back the screen on the rear so much. Just keep pressing the shutter. Otherwise, the photograph will not exist. So Roland Barthes used to say, the essence of photography is that has been. To make things that has been, to photograph, we must keep capturing the shutter. So does everybody agree these are the essence of pure photography? So if you agree, today we like to show you what we can do for pure photography in the latest technology and the latest the designing. Okay. So first, carry and access. So very simple questions. What cameras? What is required for the cameras? Camera has to be small, size matters, and weight matters. So if the big cameras is heavy cameras, so you street photographers, so how many kilometers you walk a day to get a
I mean,
street photography?
I mean, it depends, but the camera for sure should be the extension of your eye. It shouldn't bother you that you have a problem of capturing the right moment. But if you are asking, for example, when I was doing the nightlife in Tokyo, in 2 months I've done more than 800 kilometers walking. So 20 kilometers plus a day. Because it's not that you are giving a chance to you that you will have a good image. You need to work on it, and the camera should support it. Like when I was doing this nightlife, 90% images are done with the X100F, because that was a very small compact camera with the lens that I really love, 35.
Yeah.
And I had 3 batteries with me and a flash, nothing more. And that's, for me, it's the simplest way is to have all things in a good package.
Yeah, thank you very much. So after the size and the weight, the next thing we think the important for the camera is discrete. The design should be discrete. So if the camera shows by itself too much, it will put the pressure to the subject. So we think it's regardless the type of photography, street, documentary, portrait, the camera has to be discrete against the subject. And the next things for the cameras have to be reliable, the strong, the durable. Even if you find out as a good subject, the camera, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So if you look at modern cameras in your hands, they are mostly made by magnesium or aluminum, or for the basic cameras, even the plastic are made. But for us, we listen to the such a strong request to have durable the cameras. We started to re-investigating other options. It's a titanium as an option for the cameras. So if you remember the film days, we have some titanium cameras. Again, from our cabinet, we brought these cameras. Some of you remembered. This is not XT1, this is a TX1, right? This camera was perfectly made by titanium, right?
And stainless.
Yes, stainless,
steel.
right?
Yeah.
And
combination.
yes, how many years? Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, almost 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, we made.
Yes, it is. The conditions are pretty nice even today. So, however, now very difficult to find out titanium cameras. Why that? Because to simply say, titanium is very difficult to handle, difficult to the manufacturer. It is strong. It's too strong to make the shape, right? So once you press, but the titanium is strong, it doesn't stay as it is. So that's number one. The second problem is thermal conductivity, right? It protects the heat. It doesn't release the heat. So the titanium as a material, that is, the heat doesn't removed, right? Doesn't go away. So very difficult to the grind, right? For those reasons, nowadays, every manufacturer has almost given up the titanium as an option for the exterior of the cameras. But we find out the one factory that's still making the titanium for the cameras. Let's see the videos. So this is the pressing process, right? So this is after the pressing. Maybe you see the some the image, the shape of the camera top. It looks like some cameras. So this is a grinding process, as you saw, as you say. This is a thermal conductivity is so strong. It is almost the 5 years. It's grinding. So those are the heat that sometimes affect the surface of the titanium. So you can easily find the damage or scratch. So this is a camera. This factory is making for. So tonight at this FUJIFILM's X Summit, we are officially announcing the development of X Pro 3. This is a camera made by titanium. Okay.
That's a big surprise.
It's a surprise, right?
I remember our discussion in Hakone.
Yes.
At the beginning, we were mentioning the late night discussions. This was the topic.
Yeah.
A lot of issues.
It feels very similar. It looks very similar, and that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And if it's more durable, then that's even better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really. It's still an X Pro, and many people know that. But the X Pro 1 was my first entry into the Fujifilm world, and I've used all the other cameras. I use a lot of cameras, but this is still the camera that is closest to my heart. Mm-hmm. So this is it's really nice to know that it is even more durable and lightweight than before.
Lightweight, durability, yeah, and the strong, yeah.
It feels the same, but I think that the grip it's a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the hands. So.
Okay, so this is X Pro 3 made by titanium. This is a very durable cameras, but we are not. We never stop company, so we keep just thinking whether we can make these cameras even more tougher, even more durable, and we found out the way with the extra coating, right? Extra strong coating. We are developing. We are introducing Dura Black and the Dura Silver, right? So this is a special coating. This gets even more durable than the simple black. And how it's strong? It would be 10 times tougher than the stainless steel against scratch, or it is almost approaching to the level of sapphire. It's very strong, very durable.
Toshi, can you pass them on while you talk? You can keep talking and we look at the
see.
camera.
You keep touching.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Which do you want?
I keep talking, you keep touching. Okay?
Which one do you keep?
I want this one.
Okay, I'll take this one then. Sorted.
All right. Okay, so the X Pro 3 will be introduced by 3 colors. It's not just different colors. 2 of those is a special coating, the Dura coating, and including the black, the 3 colors will be available. Okay.
It feels good and it looks amazing.
Okay. Thank you.
I think this is almost a jewel. Maybe street photographers like it a bit more black. But you have the choice. Yeah. But it's a hard choice.
Yeah.
I'll have to buy
buy 3 colors. You can buy 3 colors.
Do you give a discount if you buy all 3 of them?
Buy 2 and 1 extra.
Okay. Good deal.
Okay, so let's move on to next. after we cover the size, weight, discrete design, and the durability. So the next thing is the find and the frame, the finder. So you know X Pro series alongside with the X100 series, there's only the 2 camera series which has a hybrid viewfinder, optical and electronic. And we completely upgrade the hybrid viewfinder for X Pro series. So both optical and electronic are totally redesigned. So let's have a look. So optical unit is completely redesigned. It increases the clarity, right? You see much clearer image
It is
throughout the windows. You already noticed?
quite a bit wider, yeah.
Good, good. And we reduce distortion significantly. And we increase the angle of view, okay? So it's much wider,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
this is an optical.
I think for me, it's already a good idea to start using the optical viewfinder again every now and then because it's a bit wider. Because with the 35, it was a bit close, and then you didn't see much outside of the frame, and now you do.
Yes. So this is for optical unit. So all single glasses are redesigned, redeveloped. And next, electric finder. So this is also, we completely redesign the electronic viewfinder, especially introducing the brand new panel, EVF panel. Thanks to that, it will get a higher resolution, higher contrast, wider color space. It gets brighter, and the frame rate is the better, smoother. Particularly for the color space. So this is showing the sRGB. So current X Pro 2 XT3 type of the panel covers this kind of this color space. And with X Pro 3, the new panel, it's increasing the space. So you can reproduce the vivid, the red colors, less saturated, and it's increasing the space for the more vivid, the leaves, the greens.
I just wanted to tell that the EVF looks much better when you are looking, and the colors, it's more...
That is a, yes,
yeah.
immediate notice you already got. Okay, so these are the finder. So we have now the perfect viewfinder, right? So we want every photographers and everybody who shoots for the photographs, we want to keep looking through the finders, minimizing the time to look back the rear finder, rear LCD. So we come up with ideas at Hakone, right?
That was
Why don't you have no LCD panel at all, right? And we argued over the many drinks, and I think this is a little bit too mad idea, right?
Yeah, we got many objections from you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So instead, we came up with one idea. Let's have the small screen, right? That is the minimize the information, but the keep showing basic settings: shutter speed, aperture, exposure compensation, ISO, and so on. This is the basic setting for the shooting. So we picked up these ideas, and we decided to put on the small screen here, right? So we want to still keep looking at the finders, and but you still have basic information, right? Then we come up with the argument. How can we do for waist level, the shooting, right? Can do waist level shooting.
Yeah, if I do eye level shooting, I already have to do waist level because I'm so tall.
Right? So after that discussion, we came up with new ideas, right? The still nice, the simple screen, but for the waist level, for checking the playback, let's have a hidden LCD here. So LCD still exists, but you keep the hiding when you shooting for waist level, like this, eye level, like this. So this is so the FUJIFILM, the uniqueness for the new way for LCDs.
I mean, it's a very good solution because first thing, if you want to shoot from above, you can do like this, and from below, so you can go like this. Because in Hakonek we had the discussion that one of the ideas was 90%.
Yeah. Our first idea is only up to 90 degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
90
it's
degree,
impossible
but,
to shoot from above. Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
cannot see what's there.
So that's we decided to go open to the around 100 degree.
Yeah, and the second thing is what I can tell now that finally we have some diversity in the Fuji line. That we have the Pro line, like we could say the pure photography, and the T line that it's combination between photography and film.
Yeah.
So each photographer can choose.
Yeah.
which
So
way.
now we have many product lineup within the X series. There's no point. We have similar product, the crossing each other or cannibalizing each other. So we want to keep X Pros as much as possible to close to the pure photography. Okay. So
Can I interrupt?
yes.
Sir. I must say that when this idea came on the table in Hakone, I was not immediately sold on it because it's different. It's not what we're used to. It's not the screen of the XT3. It's not the fixed screen that we had in the X Pros before. And when something is different, usually you are against it.
It's controversial.
It's controversial.
Yeah.
The X Pro 1 was different from what was on the market back then too. And I really know that I enjoyed that camera so much. It changed my photography because it let me shoot in a different way. And now feeling it, it's very sturdy, the hinge. I understand that these are pre-production, but I'm sure they are very sturdy. So it's not like it's anything you're going to risk to break it or anything. So I like the fact that it's different because it will let me shoot differently and focus again on the basics like I did with the X Pro, the X Pro 1. So I think it's a brave decision and it may not be perfect for everyone, but we already have like the XT3 to me is the ultimate compromise camera. It can do everything reasonably well, but it's nice to have something like completely different next to it. And what we've seen in the last years is that XT2 and X Pro 2 is basically the same camera in a different body.
Yeah.
But now it's a different camera, and I like that approach. And it's up to the users and the customers to buy the one that they like the best or is best suited for their needs. But I'm definitely going to give this a good try.
That's good. Thank you very much. So, to be honest, in the Shibuya it started raining, so.
It's also weatherproof.
It's a weather. Of course, it's a weatherproof. So, okay, so it's moving ahead. So the shooter's expression, right? So after deciding the composition by the viewfinder, you just keep the pressing shutter. Let's go back to this small screen. It's showing the basic setup, but maybe you remember the day film cameras, right? So if you remember the small pocket, right? And this piece of the film package we put in here, right? So for X Pro 3s, the small monitors can change to film package. Yeah, like this. This is nostalgic of the color tonalities. So classic negative will become tense film simulation mode, right? Okay. So this is a standard the Provia, very the faithful colors. You remember these colors and tonality. This is a Belvia, punchy, vivid, and classic negative. You see the difference of the greens, right? And also the skin tones. So it says like exactly like classic negative, the print it's more nostalgic colors. So it feels nostalgic, and by controlling the tonality by each color, it would show three-dimensional impressions for some reason. And image start to tell the story. So this is a classic narrative mode. So first time ever, we are introducing to X Pro 3. Color described.
I mean, it's very good because I like the idea going back to the roots. When I was using a lot of film, the film that I was using when I was using my film rangefinder was the Superior 200 and 400. Those were the best films for street photography.
Yep.
You can never have enough film simulations, so keep going.
So 11s, 12s, we keep going. Okay, so thanks everybody. That's it for X Pro 3 for tonight. And for further more informations, we want you to wait until the official announcement on 23rd of October. And the rain started and the time is running out, this program. So time flies. So before end of the show, we have one more news from us. We are always open for the customers. And like in the past, we will set the venue that the customers can access the touch and experience new cameras, X Pro 3, prior to the launch. So we are calling it Fuji Fest, Fuji Festival. It will start from the October 24th, and it's not just happening in the one location, the Tokyo. It is a global event. So it will be held more than 50 cities already nominated across the world, and everybody in those cities, you can easily access and shoot X Pro 3. I wish you join Fuji Festa and feel pure photography. So this is the last slide. So Bert, Thomas, thank you very much for your attending, and for all Japanese photographers, thanks for attending this event. I think we really enjoyed our discussion.
Toshi, we would like to hear the Japanese photographer's opinion.
Of course,
Okay.
before year end.
Yeah, okay. So, Habi-san, please give us the comment about the X Pro 3.
Okay, I'm so happy to understand your new product, which certainly help all photographers' career to make better pictures or deeper photographs. I appreciate always the new technology, as well as looking back the past, which you still have the names of different names that probably are familiar. It's my age, I started photography using films, so it's kind of nostalgic. Also, we mustn't forget about the texture produced by films. So it is very important to go back to pure photography always, and considering the quality of films. So I'd like to use your new product as soon as possible. And when it's released, I'd like to buy one certainly. Okay?
Thank you very much, Habi-san. Thank you very much.
By the way, sir, you look way too young to have used film. You look like a digital man.
I wonder, all the young photographers don't know film era. Probably doesn't make any sense.
Hang on, wait for the microphone, maybe.
For the young photographers who only know digital cameras to understand the difference between or among Velvia Aster. So our age can understand the display on the back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure for the young photographers if it makes sense or not.
I think the film simulations is a great way for photographers who started digitally, so younger people than I am. that they have an entry into what film was, and some of the most amazing, most impressive discussions that I have had with the people over there are about things that you cannot measure, color fall off, how colors go from one to the next, how colors react while they overexpose or underexpose. So I think there's a big value in that knowledge, and it's nice to bring it to the digital part. And yes, there's still film available. So
And it's very good.
And a little bit expensively.
Latest tendency in photography. Young photographers started buying second-hand film cameras.
Yes.
Which, like, in the music industry, the number of products of vinyl records are more than CD. 20 years ago, nobody expected vinyl was coming up again. But now, vinyl records are more popular than CD.
Yeah.
So one day, films could be more reliable or you see mainstream in photography rather digital in one point.
who knows?
So yeah, who knows? So we should know both.
Yeah.
You see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some photography must use films, but in some field, digital is inevitable, and certain as inevitable in sports. But for your personal photography, film are still important,
There's still a place.
isn't it?
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very
Kabe-san. So we hope everybody tries X-Pro 3, tries classic negatives. You feel the very nostalgic feeling.
So I'm watching that comment. It's like our Hakone discussion. It's a mixed opinion.
All mixed, right?
And
So
it's
some
good.
good,
Not
Mixed is good.
not good.
Yes.
But they don't have beer.
But, yeah,
Right.
And
it's kind of the message.
Right.
So
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Bart and Thomas and Japanese photographers, and for everybody watching this live the videos. So thank you very much. So I hope you enjoyed our session, and see you next time. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.